Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ali and here I just talk to myself about books and then someone, maybe you, may or may not watch this at a later date. Today it's time to do a fall specific video. So I'm going to take you through the massive stack of books behind me here of all the books I would like to try and read this fall. So let's get started. Okay, before I get started with the books though, I have to take you through my latest haul from Lunar Bookish Flames, which is one of my favourite candle companies. They have recently released their own website and I will put a link down below. You can also use Melina15 for 15% off the candles if you do an order. They do ship both within the EU, UK and internationally. I am not sponsored by them. I do actually buy all of these candles. I just really love them, and I've met the owner at Yalk last year and I just like to promote them if I can. So just to go over briefly the candles that I got this time around, because there are some fall ones, so I will light one today to have in the video because it'll be nice. But I did get a few of my favourites because some of their Sarah J Maas collections are going to be no longer licensed going forward because of some of the changes that are going on with Sarah J Maas's licensing. I'm sure you've heard about that and kind of the impact it's had on small businesses. So I did order a couple of my favourites before they went out of stock. So here we have Nesta's Silver Flames, which is smoky tobacco, honey, spice, citrus, fire, woody, sandalwood, amber, tonka bean and patchouli. And I really love this. And it's nice sparkly silver, but I actually have the big one of this as well, but I just love the smell so much, so I wanted to get another one. I then have There You Are, I've Been Looking For You, which is obviously what Reese says to Farah the first time they meet. And this is Cypra, Jasmine, Lily, Patchouli, Cedar and Amber. Unless you can't tell, I love patchouli and amber as like scents, so I tend to get the ones that have those in it, and this is a lovely kind of lilac-y purple colour. I then have Smells Like High Lords and Wing Leaders, which is obviously in reference to both ACOTAR and Fourth Wing. And again, a lovely lilac colour, but this one's got like little stars in it. And this is spice, cardamom, ginger, pink pepper, jasmine, rose, musk and sandalwood, and really love this as well. You Do Not Yield from Tog, so Throne of Glass. This is black cherry, cranberry, yang, cassis, orchid, rose violet, freesia, cocoa, patchouli and musk. And again, it's a lovely scent. This one's not sparkly, but I don't care. It's delicious. Then have a Night Court one, which is one of my favourites. So I had to get an extra one as well. I do have a couple of these. So this is lemon, mandarin, cinnamon, bergamot, citrus, amber, cedarwood, tobacco, jasmine, patchouli, musk, vanilla, tonka, myrrh and sandalwood. Every scent ever, but it smells so good. This one smells a bit more like tea-ish. I don't know how to describe it. It just smells like earthy and tea-like, and I really like it. And then we have Liv Manon Liv. Manon is one of my favourite characters from Throne of Glass. I wish we got more of her, so I am low-key hoping that we'll eventually get a Manon book, but I don't know. And this is lovely. It does smell a bit like licorice, which I'm not usually a fan of, but for some reason it works well, which makes sense because it is licorice. So licorice, anise, basil, rosemary, marjoram, caraway, lemon, lime, geranium, fennel, spearmint, peppermint, cedar and musk. So yeah, as I said, licorice is not usually a scent I really enjoy. I actually hate the taste of licorice, but this smells so good and I can't close it. But yeah, and then the last one that is related to Sarah J Maas is We Are the 13, From Now Until Darkness Claims Us. And if you know, you know what this is in reference to. The most heartbreaking of chapters. I absolutely adore the colour of this. It's like a lime green. And this is grapefruit, olibanum, davana, coriander, blackberry, honey, cinnamon, clove, celery, rose, orchid, oud, amber, musk and patchouli. Again, a lovely, lovely smell. So that's kind of the Sarah J Maas candles, but to bring it back to fall, we have some fall specific candles, and I'm going to be lighting one of them today. So we have some Gilmore Girls inspired ones, because Gilmore Girls is synonymous with autumn. So first one we have is Stars Hollow, and this is, oh gosh, I can't read. Pumpkin, ylang ylang, sandalwood, creamy marshmallows, I think. But anyway, it smells super sweet, but in like a nice way. So yeah, and it's got little pumpkins on it as well, which is so cute. So love this one, and as you can see, it's got kind of all the insignias from around Stars Hollow, which is quite cool. And then the other Gilmore Girls inspired one I have is The Life of a Gilmore Girl, which I love. So this is orange, ginger, cinnamon, walnut, nutmeg and woods, and it smells so good. And this is a stunning colour. You can't tell in this light, but it's actually like a pinky reflective orange. I don't know, it's like both pink and orange, but love it. And then we have super sweet ones. We've got Halloween pumpkin pie, and this is obviously pumpkin, waffles, sticky maple syrup, pecan and brown sugar. This is incredibly sweet, but honestly it smells like pumpkin pie and I just want to eat it. I shouldn't because it's not edible. We then have Rainy Day Reads, so I'm gonna save this for when it is raining. This is cotton, citrus, orange, rhubarb, floral jasmine, orris, pine, musk and amber. Love it. And then the last but not least, and I think this is the one I'm gonna light for today's video, we have Reading by the Fire, which is fire, amber, musk, leather, cedarwood and gaiac wood. And I absolutely adore it. It's so like smoky and delicious. So I am going to light this candle for today. You get to watch me fail at lighting a candle, and then I will just have it on in the background whilst I do this video. And the thing I love about these candles as well is that they've got like wooden wicks, so they make that lovely crackly sound. So there we go. I'm gonna put that in there, and we can get started with the actual video. Okay, before I start, I will say there are a ton of books on this list, and I'm not necessarily expecting to read through every single one over the next 2 months, because I'm thinking like October, November will be perfect for these kinds of books. I do have to allow for a little bit of like mood reading. There's a couple of other books coming out that I don't definitely want to read and stuff like that. But I think I'm going to try and focus my selection of the books that I read in those 2 months to these. So I've tried to kind of split them up a little bit into 4 different subgenre of like what I think is autumnal type reading. And I guess we can just start going through them, starting with the obvious, vampires. So this first one is one of the newest ones I've actually received, and this was a pre-order because I let BookTok and Bookstagram and BookTube influence me. I don't actually know if this is specifically about vampires. I know it's also about dragons, but it does sound like there's some sort of vampiric academy vibes going on. So that is of course On Wings of Blood by Brian Boleyn. This is the first book in a trilogy, I believe. Book 2 is due to come out in standard publication soon, and then book 3 I presume at some point next year. This was previously indie published and it has since been picked up by traditional publishers. However, there is like a lot of fan base for this and I have heard good things, so I'm hoping it's something that I will enjoy. I will quickly read the blurb. So a half-fae in a school of high-blood vampires. It's okay, there is vampires for sure. That's a recipe for disaster. A major pendragon, last of the dragon riders, or so they tell me. Funny thing is, there are no dragons left, but that hasn't stopped the vampires from deciding I'm worth capturing. Now I'm stuck at the Bloodwing Academy, where the high-bloods run everything, and the Blightborn are just blood in their veins, pawn in their games. And then obviously there's like a little love interest vibe with like an enemy, blah blah blah. So I've heard good things. I think it's going to be a fun read, and you know, definitely perfect for kind of like the October-November vibe. In my mind, October is definitely for the more like horror vampire type reads, and then November you move more into like the cozy bridge into like the Christmas vibes. So I think this is probably something I'll try and pick up in October. Next we have one of my higher priority ones that I definitely want to pick up as soon as possible, maybe even before October, and that is Barrier Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I've heard nothing but good things about this, and I'm super excited to read it. This is the Fairy Loot exclusive edition, which came in their adult box, and it is absolutely stunning, obviously. But I'm super excited to read this. This is one of my most anticipated reads of the year, so I really can't wait to get my teeth into it. Yes, pun intended. So this spans a few different years, like spans like 3 different generations over time, and it's a sapphic vampire story. As I said, I've heard nothing but good things, so I'm super excited. So let's say this is a story about hunger. 1532, Santo Domingo de la Calzada. A young girl grows up wild and wily, and Maria knows she can only ever be a pawn in men's game. A story about love. 1827, London. A young woman lives a cloistered life on her family's estate until a moment of forbidden intimacy sees her shipped off to London. And then a story about rage. 2019, Boston. College was supposed to be a fresh start. That's why Alice moved halfway across the world. Then an out-of-character one-night stand leaves her questioning everything. So it's about these 3 women across like centuries, and I believe there's like some sort of vampire sapphic story going on. But I'm super excited to read this. I've heard nothing but good things, and it'll be my first V. Schwab, potentially my second as of this pile of books. Next we have a Dracula inspired retelling, which is Lucy Undying. This follows Lucy, who is a prominent character in Bram Stoker's Dracula. She is one of like his first victims within that book. Obviously he's had other victims before, and this kind of follows her story of self-discovery, of reinventing herself as this vampire character that she has become. So this is one I picked up at Yalk last year, literally November last year, and have yet to pick up. I was meant to read it last November, I didn't get a chance, and then I felt like the moment had passed, so I've been saving it till this time of year again. And again, another one I'm very excited to read, and I've heard good things about, so definitely gonna pick this one up. And then another vampiric retelling, but this time focused on Camilla. We have Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. Camilla was was the first known publication of like a vampire story. It had like sapphic undertones and focused mostly on this character called Camilla, which was like this vampire character, and this is a retelling of it, so I'm very excited for it. This was a pre-order. I was actually due to go meet Kat Dunn at an event, but I didn't end up going. I believe there was either train strikes or it wasn't very well, I can't remember at the time. But again, this is one I picked up earlier in the year and have yet to read, so very excited to read it now. So Lenore is the wife of steel magnate Henry, but 10 years into their marriage, their relationship has soured and no child has arrived to fill the distance growing between them. Henry's ambitions take them from London to the Peak District, to the remote imposing Nevershore estate, where he plans to host a hunting party. Lenore must work to restore the crumbling house and ready it for Henry's guests. The future depends on it. But as the couple travel through the bleak countryside, a shocking carriage accident brings the mysterious Camilla into Lenore's life. Camilla, who is weak and pale during the day but vibrant at night. Camilla, who stirs up something deep within Lenore, and before long, girls from the local village fall sick, consumed by a terrible hunger. Again, another great vampire retelling that I'm very much looking forward to. And then we have a book that I actually pulled out earlier this year as part of my TBR selections. Didn't end up reading it, again, because I just wasn't inspired. I always try and read like every book I pick out for a TBR, but sometimes I do have to rely on my mood reading, and this is just perfect for this time of year, so I decided to save it. And that is obviously none other than Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. Everyone kind of knows the story of this. It's you know, a boy interviewing a vampire, and it's kind of like the retelling of the tale of how they got there, etc., and focuses predominantly around 3 characters, 2 male and 1 female. And yeah, I'm super excited to finally read this. I think I read this like so long ago when I was at school, like in my teens, when I was going through my teenage vampire phase, as you do. So I'm quite excited to reread it now as an adult, mostly because I don't really remember it, so quite excited. So that's the like vampire focused ones. Next we have like the more horror inspired books. I guess, is it just horror? I don't really know, but like horror, monster, witchy vibes. So first of all, we have Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix has become one of my favourite authors. I've only read like 3 of his books, but I love them nonetheless. I just love his style of writing. I love how unserious it is, and I just like the horror element in that very like fun 80s vibe. So very excited to pick this up as well. I actually ended up getting this from the window of a foils, and it was like the last copy they had. It's signed by the author and it had these sprayed edges, which are really cool. So I've been meaning to read this. Again, it's one that I've saved until this time of year because I feel like it's perfect, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this. So they call them wayward girls, loose girls, girls who grew up too fast, and they've sent to Wellwood House in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families to give birth in secret, put their babies up for adoption, and most important of all, forget any of it ever happened. 15-year-old Fern arrives at the home of the sweltering summer of 1970, pregnant, terrified, and alone. There she meets a dozen other girls in the same predicament. Rose, a hippie who insists she's going to keep her baby and escape to a commune, Zinnia, a budding musician who plans to marry her baby's father, and Holly, a barely 14, mute and pregnant by no one knows who. Every moment of their waking day is strictly controlled by adults who claim to know what's best for them, until Fern meets a librarian who gives her an occult book about witchcraft, and suddenly power is in the hands of the girls for the first time in their lives. So it's kind of reminded me a little bit of what's it called, that movie? Is it The Craft? No, it's not The Craft. You know the one. But yeah, so I'm very excited to read this. Grady Hendrix, as I said, I just really vibe with his writing, so I'm very excited to pick this up. Again, probably a priority for me after Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Circle. Next is one that was kind of like everywhere last year. I did pick this up secondhand, and I've been meaning to read it. It's kind of like a bit of a palette cleanser between some heavier books, because I think I tend to fly through books like this, and that is The Last House on Needless Street. This is a horror, I believe, and by Catriona Ward, and a bit of like a murder mystery type vibe. Now, I've said this before and I will say it again, I don't tend to get on super well with like murder mystery thriller type books if they are super predictable. I do find them easy to read, so I can definitely see the appeal of like, I want a quick read, you know, I don't want to have to think too much. But I have been looking for a book in that genre that's a little bit more surprising, a little bit more non-obvious when it comes to the plot and the twists. So I've got high hopes for this one because I've heard good things, and I hope it does not disappoint. So this is the story of a murderer, a stolen child, revenge. This is the story of Ted, who lives with his daughter Lauren and his cat Olivia in an ordinary house at the end of an ordinary street. All these things are true, and yet some of them are lies. You think you know what's inside the last house on Needless Street. You think you've read the story before. In the dark forest at the end of Needless Street, something lies buried, and it's not what you think. So yeah, excited to pick this one up. I think this is definitely one that I would like be able to read in one sitting. And yeah, maybe, as I said, a bit of a palette cleanser. And next we have another Grady Hendrix book, and this one I'm actually obsessed with. I love how it looks like an IKEA type catalogue. So this is Horror Store, which is, you've guessed it, a book about a kind of IKEA type Scandi store that's haunted. So I love just the way that it's literally the size of and shape of a catalogue. It also on the inside looks like it, and the way the like pages are written as well looks like it too. So I'm very excited to read this. Again, I think this won't take me too long to read because it's fairly short, but also I feel like it's a bit interactive, so I'm quite excited to read this. But yes, so something strange is happening at the Orcs Furniture Superstore in Cleveland, Ohio. Every morning, employees arrive to find broken curging bookshelves, shattered glands, water goblets, and smashed Liripip wardrobes. Sales are down, security cameras reveal nothing, and store managers are panicking. To unravel the mystery, 3 employees volunteer to work a 9-hour dusk till dawn shift. In the dead of night, they'll patrol the empty showroom floors, investigate strange sights and sounds, and encounter horrors that defy the imagination. A traditional haunted house story. So very, very excited to pick this up. I've already raved and ranted about Grady Hendrix, so I don't need to repeat myself on that. But yes, again, another priority for me. I feel like it's gonna go Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil, the 2 Grady Hendrix, and then we'll see whatever my fancy picks up. And in the theme of haunted houses or haunted house vibes, we have another type of horror, southern gothic-y haunted house vibes, and that is A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. I don't think I've actually read a T. Kingfisher book, but I've heard so many good things, and I feel like they're definitely an author that I would enjoy, and I've been meaning to pick up more of their books. So I thought, whilst I was in Canada, I saw this edition. I am obsessed with like the US floppy editions. They are bigger than the UK ones, so just for comparison, oh no, that's a bad comparison. For comparison in terms of size, that's the standard UK paperback, and this is the US one. So they are bigger, which means they don't fit evenly on my shelves compared to my UK paperbacks. However, it's worth it. It's worth it because look at the flop on that. Just look at it. But yeah, so I'm very excited to read this as well. It's a southern, like USA, as I said, haunted gothic-y house type vibe. Mum seems off. Her brother's words echo in Sam Montgomery's ears as she turns into the quiet North Carolina street where their mother lives alone. She brushes the thoughts away as she climbs the front steps. Sam's excited for this rare extended visit and looking forward to nights with just the 2 of them, drinking box wine, watching murder mystery shows and guessing who the killer is long before the characters figure it out. But stepping inside, she quickly realises home isn't what it used to be. Gone is the warm, cluttered charm her mum is known for. Now the walls are painted a sterile white. Her mum jumps at the smallest noises and looks over her shoulder even when she's the only person in the room. And when Sam steps out back to clear her head, she finds a jar of teeth hidden beneath the magazine-worthy rose bushes, and vultures are circling the garden from above. I mean, need I say more? And then you may have briefly seen another YA horror, and this is again the standard like teen horror movie vibe, and that is A Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesare. I don't really know how you pronounce that in English, but anyway, Caesar. This has been made into a movie actually. I haven't watched it yet because I wanted to read the book first, but you know, it's about teenagers, it's about cornfield, it's about clown. Is there anything more terrifying than a Halloween clown? I don't think so. A murderous Halloween clown will forever and always be the most terrifying thing, I think, outside of like failure, but you know, that's just getting in too deep. So yeah, excited for this one. So Quinn Maybrook just wants to make it to graduation, but she might not make it to morning. When Quinn and her father moved into a tiny town with a weird clown for a mascot, they were looking for a fresh start. But ever since the town's only factory shut down, Kettle Springs has been cracked in half. Most of the town believes that the kids are to blame. After all, the juniors and seniors at Kettle Springs High are the only one who threw the party where Arthur Hill's daughter died. They're the ones who set the abandoned factory on fire and who spend their time posting pranks on YouTube. They have no respect and no idea what it means to work hard. For the kids, it's the other way around, and now Kettle Springs is caught in a constant battle between old and new, transition and progress. It's a fight that looks like it will destroy the town, until one homicidal clown with a pork pie hat and a red nose decides to end it for good. Because if your opponents all die, you win the debate by default. So again, I think it's going to be kind of a bit of a satirical take on those types of movies, or that's at least how I'm taking it. And I know there's like 3 of these, if not more, so if I like this, I'll definitely pick up the rest of the series. This one is kind of like horror, body horror type vibes, psychological things, but I heard about this book, gosh, it must be like a couple of years ago now, and I've been meaning to pick it up for a while, or it kind of been a couple of years because it was published in 2024, but it feels like a couple of years ago, so maybe it was early 2024, we're now nearly at the end of 2025, and that is none other than Mostrelio by Gerardo Samano Cordova. This is, as I said, like a bit of a body horror type vibe. This follows a grieving mother who loses her son and decides to keep a piece of his lung. And then the lung, like, she nurtures it and it becomes like sentient and slowly starts to turn into like this little monster that she tries to basically replace her dead son with. So it's a bit of like a meditation on like grief and, you know, death and coping with things like that and acceptance of what's happened, but also in a creepy horror type way. So quite excited to read this as well. It sounds super gross, super weird, which I love. Next we have a kind of like, and we have a couple of these, kind of like magic school type vibes. This one I think is more towards like the horror elements of it, so kind of like darker, more gothic. This is part of Evernight from Illumicrate. I don't have a subscription to it, but I did end up buying this in one of their sales, and it is beautiful. It's probably one of like my favourite books that Illumicrate have done, and it's just so pretty. But yeah, it's kind of giving that link between magical school and kind of horror. Lennon Carter's life has fallen apart until she gets a mysterious phone call inviting her to sit the entrance exam for somewhere very few have heard of. Hidden in a secret pocket of Savannah is a place called Drayton College, and it's a school of magic. Lennon has been chosen because, like everyone else at the school, she is special. She possesses the innate gift of persuasion, the ability to wield her will like a weapon and to use it to control others and, in rare cases, matter itself. After passing the grilling exam, Lennon needs to learn how to master this devastating power. While persuasion takes a heavy toll on her body and her mind, she is captivated by all that surrounds her. Her studies, the college's lush, moss-draped campus, her brilliant classmates, and most of all by Dante, the charismatic advisor who both intimidates and intrigues her. So, I guess I think there's like probably a romance element to this as well, but that's not necessarily why I picked it up at all. I just heard good things about this. I saw the edition in like some unboxings and I was like, I need to have it, and then didn't read it. So here we are a while later. And another magical school is Arcana Academy by Elise Cover. Elise Cover is the author who wrote Deal with the Elf King, which I've heard very, very good things about. I have yet to read myself. But this again came as part of the, was it Fairy Loot? Yes, the Fairy Loot, either Romantasy or Adult Sub, I can't remember, a few months ago. And I have heard good things about this, so I hope again it's one I will enjoy, and if not, I will give it on to somebody else who will. But it is a very beautiful edition, and these sprayed edges have got tarot cards, and I do like the premise of tarot cards in kind of these types of magical books. So Clara Greysword has survived the underworld of Eclipse City through thievery, luck, and a whole lot of illegal magic. After a job gone awry, Clara is sentenced to a lifetime in prison for inking tarot cards, a rare power reserved for practitioners at the elite Arcana Academy. Just when it seems her luck has run dry, the Academy's enigmatic headmaster, Prince Kalis, offers her an escape for a price. Kalis believes that Clara is the perfect tool to help him steal a tarot card from the king and to use it to recreate an all-powerful card long lost to time. In order to conceal her identity and keep her close, Kalis brings Clara to Arcana Academy, introducing her as the newest first-year student and his bride-to-be. Thrust into a world of arcane magic and royal intrigue, when one misstep will send her back to prison or worse, Clara finds that the prince she swore to hate may not be what he seems. So again, sounds super exciting, and one I will try to pick up at some point over the next couple of months. We shall see. Okay, so we've done vampires, we've done horror, we've done magical schools, kind of. I think there is one more magical school. I have so many piles of books, guys. And I think, is this one magical? This is definitely magical. I don't know if it's set in a school, but I pre-ordered this. You might have seen a quick glimpse of it. I pre-ordered this because the edition just looked too good to pass up, and that is none other than Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. I have never read a book by L.K. Stephen, but I have heard good things, and this was just so beautiful. Like, look at it, and yeah, come on, can't not have it. But I've heard good things about this as well. I do now also have a pillow cover courtesy of Illumicrate, which is downstairs, so I don't have it upon me to show you, but I really wanted to read this. It sounded good. I hope I will like it because it is the beginning of a series. but again, it's kind of very magic focused. 2 decades ago, the Blood Moons ruthlessly murdered Saffron's parents, destroying her idyllic childhood. Hell-bent on revenge, she lies away into the elite Silvercloak Academy of detectives with a single goal: to find a way to bring the Blood Moons to justice. So it's kind of an academy, but not a scholarly. Oh my god. Not a school type of academy, it's a detective academy, so for adults, I guess. But on the eve of her graduation, her deception is exposed and she's given only one option: to go undercover and tear the Blood Moons down from the inside. Descending into a world where pleasure and pain are the most powerful currencies, Saf must commit some truly heinous deeds to keep her cover and her life. Not only are there rival gangs and sinister smuggling rings to contend with, there's also the growing feelings for the Kingpin's tortured son and a curious prophecy foretelling his death at Saf's hand. I presume it's this guy. But yes, another one I've been very much looking forward to based on what everyone's been saying, and I really hope it's not a case of BookTok's lied to me again and I've been duped. We'll see. We'll see. If we're going to keep going through special editions, we have none other than The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I've heard mixed reviews about this, but to be honest, the people that haven't enjoyed it never really enjoyed Joe Abercrombie's writing. I tend to quite like grimdark stuff, so I'm hoping I will enjoy this and I will enjoy this style of writing, because I also want to get into some of his other series, and I do have the first book here somewhere of one of his other series that I would like to read. But this one came as part of the Epic Fantasy Fairy Loot. So this was the first book in that subscription. And it is, again, a beautiful, beautiful edition. I am, like, obsessed with it. Like, look. And the drawings on the inside, like the end papers. Can you just? Obsessed. Obsessed. But anyway, so I've been very much looking forward to this as well. So this is kind of like a Suicide Squad type read, where you've got kind of like a Gotham type city where plague and famine are ravishing everything, and then you get a oh gosh, what is he, like a brother, a church, what are they called, like a monk or something, and he has to essentially try and save the city with this like band of misfits, which includes like monsters, vampires, wizards, I don't really know. I'll quickly read the blurb because I feel like that was a chaotic recap. Europe stares into the abyss. Plague and famine stalk the land, monsters lurk in every shadow, and the greedy princes care for nothing but their own ambitions. Only one thing is certain: the elves will come again and they will eat everyone. Sometimes only the darkest paths lead towards the light, paths on which the righteous will not dare to tread. And so, buried beneath the sacred splendour of the celestial palace, is the secret chapel of the Holy Expediency. For its congregation of convicted monsters, there are no sins that have not been committed, no lines that will not be crossed, and no mission that cannot be turned into a disastrous bloodbath. Okay. Now the hapless Brigadiers must somehow bind the worst of the worst to a higher cause, to put a fief on the throne of Troy and unite the sundered church against the upcoming apocalypse. When you're headed through hell, you need the devils on your side. So yeah, a band of misfit monsters trying to rescue the world. Like, come on, sounds great to me. So hopefully I'll be one of those people that loved it. And then honourable mention, because I don't actually have the book yet, but I will be getting it on Kindle. Mostly because, let me just show you. So I have said time and time again that Empire of the Vampire is one of my favourite books. As you can see, I'm actually wearing my Silver Saint t-shirt today, which I adore. So I will not be getting the hardcover of the third book, which is coming out in November this year. And that's mainly because the other two I had were paperbacks. I did, however, rebind them. So here we have Empire of the Vampire, which I rebound to look like this, and I love it. And here we have a sword, and here we have Empire of the Damned, and again another rebind. Celine. So I will be waiting until the paperback comes out so that I can rebind it. It'll be the same size as these two and I can make it match. However, in the meantime, I will definitely be buying the book on Kindle to read, because there is no way I'm going to wait a year to finish off this trilogy. So that is Empire of the Dawn. I don't think I'm going to go through the story. If you want to know more about Empire of the Vampire, watch any other video that I've ever posted, because I tend to talk about it pretty much in every single video. And yeah, I'm actually going to be meeting J. Kristoff this November. Super excited. He's doing a tour for his new book, obviously, and I'm hoping he will sign my lovely Rebound editions because that would be super special. Next we have a witchy read, and I think this is kind of like a romantasy vibe. I've heard a few good things about this book. I picked it up on a bit of a whim, so hopefully I will enjoy it, and that is Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. I have heard of her other books, but I haven't read any of them yet, and this is the one that kind of struck me the most, mainly because the cover is so pretty. And I am a sucker for a good cover. So her life has been planned out since the moment she was born. She's to marry the governor's son Landon and secure an unprecedented alliance between the witches of her island home and the mainlanders who see her very existence as a threat. Tanner's coven has appeased those who fear their powers for years by releasing most of their magic into the ocean during the full moon. But when Tanner misses the midnight ritual, a fatal mistake, there is no one she can turn to for help until she meets Wolf. Wolf claims he is from the coven that practices dark magic, making him one of the only people who can help her, but he refuses to let Tanner's power rush into the sea and instead teaches her his forbidden magic, a magic that makes her feel powerful, alive. As the sea grows more violent, her coven loses control of the currents and danger that could destroy the alliance as well as her island. Tanner will have to choose between love and duty, between loyalty to her people and loyalty to her heart. Marrying Landon would secure peace for her coven, but losing Wolf and his wild magic could cost her everything else. So definitely a romantasy, witchy inspired book that, again, I would hope is like a bit of like an easier read compared to some of the others, and hopefully will be fun enough to kind of get through. A book I bought so long ago, I don't even remember. I have yet to read this because I've been terrified. Like, everyone talks about it and I don't know, I'm scared I'm not going to enjoy it. I don't know why. I feel like I will enjoy it based on what it is about and what I've heard about it. But you know, when a book is so hyped and then you've read others in the past that have let you down, so obviously you're a little bit concerned that this might follow suit, and that is none other than The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This isn't kind of like a vampire or witches or magic per se, but I feel like it does give very November vibes, like, you know, that kind of like a bit of magical realism, like darkness, gothic-y, wintry vibes. So France, 1714, a desperate woman makes a desperate deal in the dark, a bargain to live forever but remembered by none. So begins the invisible life of Addie LaRue, shadow muse to artists throughout history, forgotten friend, confidant and lover, slipping away with the morning light. Addie passes through life desperate only to leave a trace of herself, until the day she walks back into a small bookshop in Manhattan and meets Henry, who remembers her. After 300 years, Addie's life is restarting, but the devil never plays fair. As Henry and Addie's lives start to intertwine, they must face the consequences of the decisions they've made and the prices to be paid. So again, it sounds like I'm really going to enjoy it. I feel like it's going to be definitely a very atmospheric type read, so hopefully, you know, makes sense for November. And another one that I'd like to pick up in November is kind of like a fairy tale dark retelling, which again I feel like is definitely that sort of November time to read this, and that is The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. I have made it no mystery that I love Ava Reid's writing. I have recently read A Theory of Dreaming, which is a sequel to A Study in Drowning. Adored it. I love the writing style. I love the like vibes, the atmosphere, the gothicness of it, etc. So this is one of her older books and I've been meaning to pick it up for a long time and I just haven't. So now is the time. Now is the time. So this is a retelling, I think, of like Red Riding Hood, but focused on the woodsman, I guess. So in her forest-veiled pagan village, Evika is the only woman without power. So when soldiers from the Holy Order of Woodsmen arrive to claim a girl for the king's blood sacrifice, she is betrayed and surrendered. But when they are attacked en route to the capital and everyone but Evika and a lone woodsman are slaughtered, they have no choice but to rely on each other. Except he's no ordinary woodsman. He's the disgraced prince, Gaspar Barani, whose father needs pagan magic to consolidate his power. As they travel from the bitten northern tundra to the smog-choked capital, they form a tenuous pact that slowly turns their loathing to affection. But trust is easily betrayed, and as Evika discovers her own hidden magic, she and Gaspar must decide where their loyalties lie. So again, I hope this is going to be a very atmospheric type read, and I do love a dark fairy tale retelling, which is funny because actually the Grimm fairy tales are pretty dark. They were then made less dark, and back to darkness we go. And then no autumn time would be complete without cozy fantasy. So the last little pile is cozy fantasy. First of all, we have Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. This is the sequels to Legends and Lattes, which focuses on an orc. And this is kind of like a prequel, actually. So in this one, Viv, who is the orc from Legends and Lattes, has just left her career as a renowned mercenary, and she ends up buying a bookstore. So, you know, that's where we are at, Bookshops and Bone Dust. So wounded, packed and off to recuperate in the sleepy town of Merck, she's so far from an action that she worries she'll never be able to return to it. Spending her hours as a struggling bookshop in the company of its foul-mouthed proprietor is the last thing Viv would have predicted, even though it may be exactly what she needs. But a suspicious traveller in grey, a gnome with a chip on her shoulder, a summer fling and an improbable number of skeletons soon prove Merck to be more eventful than Viv could have ever expected. I loved Legends and Lattes. It's just the perfect, like, high fantasy, low stakes, cosy read, and I'm very excited to continue this. And there's going to be a third book out soon, so again, a good time to read it. Next we have a cozy witchy read, and that is Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. I heard really, really good things about this when it came out earlier in the year, or even last year, I think. And this was such a cute addition from the works that when I saw it, I had to get it. Look at the little cat. So sweet. But yeah, so I did get it because of the cuteness of the sprayed edges, and then I was like, actually, this is the perfect cozy read again for that October-November bridge. So Belladonna Blackthorn hasn't lost her magical spark, but she hasn't seen it in a while either. Balancing work at her beloved London bookshop, Luna Books, with handling her toxic boss and concealing her witchcraft from those around her, Belle is burnt out. Perfecting the potential of her magic is the last thing on her mind. But when her 13th birthday brings a summon from her coven and a trial that tests her worthiness as a witch, Belle risks losing her magic forever. With only 1 month to fix things and suspicious that dark forces may be working against her, Belle will need the help she can get. From the women in her life, from an unlikely mentor figure, and even from an infuriating coven watchman who's sworn to protect her. Love it. Sounds perfect. So again, another cozy read. And then last but not least is an entire series. Well, not an entire series because I think there's another book coming out, but the ones that are currently out. So that is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, A Pirate's Life for Tea, and Tea You at the Altar by Rebecca Thorne. These are all series. I just realised they don't match. No, but I liked the covers, so the covers match and that's what matters. I don't like the UK editions, so I was quite glad to get my hands on the international ones. But these follows Raina and Chiantha, who are a couple that have been together for a while. All they've ever wanted is to open a bookshop that serves tea. Girls, same. Like, I feel like that is my dream, but obviously it's never gonna come true. Worn wooden floors, plants on every table, firelight drafting between the rafters, all complemented by love and good company. Thing is, Raina works as one of the Queen's private guards, and Chiantha is the most powerful mage in existence. Leaving their lives isn't so easy. But after an assassin takes Raina as a hostage, she decides she's thoroughly done risking her life for a self-centered queen. Meanwhile, Chiantha has been waiting for a chance to flee responsibility, all the better that her girlfriend is on board. Together they settle in Tawny, a town nestled in the icy tundra near Dragon Country, and open a shop of their dreams. And then it's going to be a cozy tale, and obviously these are the sequels to it. It just sounds perfect, and I've been waiting until I could get my hands on books 2 and 3 to then binge the whole series, and I really hope I'll get a chance to do that this year. I do have a couple of other books in here that I think might be good for October, November, but I don't think I'm going to get through the entire pile that I just showed you anyway, so I think I need to slow down. But I think I'm going to try and stick to my choices out of those for the next couple of months, which I think will be quite cool. And yeah, I'm hoping also to pick up some of my Broken Binding series, because I've got 3 on the go now that I really need to read. Well, not on the go. I've got 3 now that are about to be completed, and I've yet to start any of them, so I should probably start those. However, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of those, if you think I should prioritise any over the others, and you know, what kind of things do you like to read this time of year? Let me know down below. But yes, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do pop a like, and if you would like to see more, please do subscribe, and I'll see you soon.